Qin Shaotian wore a grave expression as he stared at Suoping, who was a few years younger than he was. Qin Shaotian became more determined to grow and develop. The events that took place during the Elite League this year had dealt a heavy blow on him. Both Solingyu and Yan Binjiu had been able to defeat him easily. They had crushed his confidence. As to the young man running the store, he was so horrifying that Qin Shaotian had never considered catching up to him. The gap between them was too huge. Standing on the side, Mu Shuangguan had been seized by terror and tension. She had sat with the young man not long before, to talk about shooting advertisements and contracts. But this day, her own family head had paid a visit, and even he had to remain standing because he wasn't qualified to sit down with the young man. It was true that she cancelled the contract, but she had paid him and they ended the contract on good terms. That being said, it was a fact that she had abandoned the store when it was at a critical juncture. She only hoped that Suoping would go easy on her, not being too particular about what happened between them. Otherwise, she would never be able to make it up to him, not even with her own life. As for the company president who had forced her to cancel the contract, he had already been removed from office. Once a successful man in the family, he had ended up unemployed and was even grounded. He couldn't leave the family premises freely anymore. Everything that happened in the family was a testimony of the young man's terror. She was filled with regret. She could have insisted on cooperating with Suoping, if only she had known. Then the Mu family would have built up a connection with Suoping, all thanks to her. She would have made a great contribution to the family. The branch she had been born in would be taken in higher regard and treated well by the Mu family. However, because of one wrong decision, she had to leave her fate up to Suoping. Even her side of the family had been marginalized by the Mu family in general. Ye Hao and Zhou Chuan were too scared to breathe. Those who were standing there had freaked them out. They had never seen so many titled battle pet warriors in one place. And there were so many family heads present. Even meeting their own family heads was difficult. After all, neither Zhou Chuan nor Ye Hao were the most favored people in their respective families. They had been brought there only because their families had found out that they had gone to Suoping's store once. Neither expected that they would have to be in such a stressful situation. Of the Lu family, Lu Tianzong, Lu Jiangxin, Lu Yuan, and another family elder were standing by the side, with their hands down. They didn't even dare to raise their heads and look at the young man. Lu Tianzong had turned pale the moment he saw Xieganj and the Tang family elders. When he noticed that they were standing there, afraid of Suoping, he looked even worse. He had heard about what happened in the Pixie Pet Store from his family elders. How could he know that there was a legendary battle pet warrior in Suoping's store? Having learned that, Lu Tianzong finally understood why his requests to the government for information about the store had received no response. It turned out that the mayor had been in the know regarding the horrors of the store. Between the legendary battle pet warrior and the Lu family, the mayor had chosen the legendary battle pet warrior without the slightest hesitation. The mayor had even been afraid to leak the information of the store in case the legendary battle pet warrior would blame him. Lu Tianzong felt remorseful and angry. If he had known about the existence of the legendary battle pet warrior, he would have never tried to compete against the store. Lu Tianzong was filled with despair at the moment. His last hope was that the young man would be merciful. In the meantime, Suoping had finished browsing through the star organization's list of treasures. He picked some and said to Xieganj, "Can you bring them over to me tomorrow?" Xieganj saw the items that Suoping had picked out. Swallowing down the pain in his heart, he took a deep breath and said, "Sure. Good." Suoping nodded. Then he shifted his sight to the 5 family heads, squinting his eyes. The families had merely sent over family elders the first time he invited them. This day, he had not issued them an invitation, but the family heads had decided to come in person. True. Without strength, he wouldn't be valued and nothing he said would be of importance. "Nice to see you all. What has brought you here?" Suoping asked, while fully aware of the answer. Qin Duhuang, a man of affairs, managed to keep the smile on his face. Mr. Su, I was under the weather last time you invited me to come and was unable to be here in person. I'm here today to apologize. He didn't beat around the bush nor work up some excuse. He said he was there to apologize directly. At the same time, he took out a gift for Suaping. Suaping darted a look at the box but didn't make a move to take it. Instead, he shot a glance at Tang Ruyan. She understood the meaning of the glance and walked over to receive the gift. Qin Dehuang knew that the girl was the fake future family head that the Tang family had tried to rescue. The Tang family had lost 2,000 master battle pet warriors because of this girl. Even Qin Dehuang, an outsider, felt his heart ache when he heard about this. There weren't even 2,000 master battle pet warriors in the entire Longjiang base city. So many master battle pet warriors had perished because of one spear. The Tang family had to be furious. You don't have to apologize, and I understand that you weren't feeling well. I said last time that there are some things I need. I hope you can help me find them. Of course, I won't make you work for free. Anyone who can help me find the materials will receive all the treasures that I just received, Suaping said. The treasures could be of some help to him, but in comparison, he valued more about his strength. He hoped he could reach the second level of the solar bulwark faster. By then, his physical strength would be comparable to the legendary rank. That would be the day when he would really become a powerful battle pet warrior, and even be one of the rulers of the planet. The Tang family elders and Xieganj were a bit surprised and embarrassed. It seemed that Suaping didn't value the treasures he had picked. That was to say, Suaping had better things. Besides, it was a surprise that Suaping was putting such a strong focus on the materials he was seeking and was willing to trade with the treasures. At first, Qin Dehuang and the other family heads were in a daze. But their confusion didn't last for long. They were smart enough to realize that Suaping was a pragmatic man. It wasn't a big deal that they had angered Suaping before and the trivial disputes could be water under the bridge. Suaping was in dire need of those materials. Anyone who could help him find those materials would get closer to him. This was a great chance for them. Mu Bahai, family head of the Mu family, made a solemn promise, Mr. Su, don't worry. The Mu family will do everything possible to find the things you need. It was uncommon for a family head to speak to a young man so respectfully. The fact that Mu Bahai was willing to swallow his pride made Qin Dehuang think better of him. The family heads of the Zhou family and the Ye family also promised him to help. Afterward, Suaping turned to the Lu family. Anything you want to tell me? Everyone turned to see the Lu family, including the Tang family elders and Xieganj. After the Tang family and Xieganj suffered a loss in that exchange, they had been trying to use every means possible to collect information about Suaping's store. In that process, they found out about the past conflicts between the Lu family and Suaping. They felt the Lu family had done ridiculous things. A local family in the Longjiang base city had angered a local legendary battle pet warrior. How ignorant could they be? Lu Tianzong was drenched in cold sweat as he felt the stares from Suaping and the others. The great tension had made him tremble. Beyond nervous, he could not even utter a single word without his throat feeling sore and his voice faltering. Mr. Su, I have eyes but I failed to recognize a great person. The Lu family is willing to give you half of our family assets to ease your anger. I have found out about the root cause of this event. This is the owner of our Primo Pet Store, I have brought him over. You can do whatever you want about him, said Lu Tianzong and dragged Lu Yuan to where Suaping was. Lu Yuan was shaking, and ghastly pale. Ever since Lu Jiangzhen failed to make it to the top 10, Primo's businesses had been on a steep decline. Lu Yuan wasn't even able to enjoy his past high status, either. His status suffered a disastrous fall. 5 days prior, he was removed from all positions and then kept under house arrest. His side of the family had been under close watch ever since. It was as if the Lu family was giving upon them. Everyone in his branch felt insecure. Later, Lu Yuan found out that the store he was competing against had a legendary battle pet warrior. He was frozen on the spot when he was informed of that fact. As Lu Tianzong pushed him to the front, Lu Yuan felt all hope had been lost. He knew that his death couldn't be avoided. He also knew that the family head had promised that his family branch would be spared in exchange for his death. Mr. Su, I am sorry. I will accept all punishment, be it death or not, however you see fit. Lu Yuan dropped to his knees and put his head on the ground. Su Ping darted a look at him. He wasn't interested in killing him. Lu Yuan was merely a scapegoat. This man might have started the competition, but he couldn't have acted without the support of the entire Lu family. Otherwise, where would he have gotten the 2 top-level battle pets he placed outside the Primo store, which were on par with his Inferno Dragon? But Su Ping didn't plan on getting to the bottom of this. The Lu family would be practically ruined after giving him half of their family assets. As for the scapegoat, Su Ping didn't mean to kill him. He would, of course, leave such a talent to the Lu family. They could do whatever they wanted with him. As far as he was concerned, Lu Yuan could be named the family head and he wouldn't have a problem with that. Forget it. I don't want to see blood today. You can all go home. As for your family assets, calculate the amount and transfer the money directly to me. I'm not interested in running your companies, Su Ping said. Lu Tianzong was surprised. Thank you, Mr. Su, for your kindness, he said in a hurry. If money was all that Su Ping wanted, then the Lu family's loss would be less severe. After all, the companies would still be there. They would be able to develop again, as long as they could make it through a tough period. At the same time, the other family heads felt bad about such a decision. If the Lu family would have been condemned, the families could have devoured what was left of them to make up for their losses. While they were about to say their goodbyes to leave, another car pulled over. Soon, a middle-aged man walked in, as well as 3 titled battle pet warriors. It's the mayor. Mayor Xiet. It's him. The 5 family heads were a bit mad at the middle-aged man. They wouldn't have offended Su Ping if the mayor had told them about the store's strength. As a matter of fact, they would have tried to get in his good books earlier. Xiejin Shui didn't expect to see that many people in the store. The incidents between the 5 families and Su Ping cleared up his confusion. He noticed the anger in the family head's eyes. However, he kept the smile on his face as if unable to see how upset they were. He had displeased the 5 major families by hiding from them all the information about the legendary battle pet warrior in Su Ping's store. But compared to a legendary battle pet warrior, the 5 major families were not worth mentioning. Besides, he had upset them. So what? It wasn't like the 5 families would make a coalition and revolt. The only thing that could unite the 5 families was interest, not hatred, nor friendship. Mr. Su, I am Xiejin Shui, mayor of the Longjiang Base City, the people's servant. I have heard that you're a teacher at the Phoenix Peak Academy. As a matter of fact, we do share some connections. Xiejin Shui exchanged pleasantries as soon as he came into the door. Oh. So, this man is the top leader of the Longjiang Base City. A friend of my daughter's cousin studies in the Phoenix Peak Academy and she may have attended your lectures. But I've also heard that you don't go to the academy often. I feel so sorry for the students, Xiejin Shui said. The others eyed him as if he were crazy. A friend of your daughter's cousin? Could you come up with someone even more distantly related? Su Ping was also speechless. Though it sounded ridiculous, he could tell that Xiejin Shui had come with sincerity. Please have a seat, Su Ping said. Xiejin Shui was surprised that of all the people standing around, Su Ping would ask him to sit down. Su Ping must think highly of me. Thank you, Mr. Su. While this was the first time Xiejin Shui had met the young man, he could tell that Su Ping was not someone who favored false displays of affection. As such, Xiejin Shui sat down. Sir, I've heard that you locked up the street, Su Ping said. You know, I'm a businessman. If the street is off limits, I won't have any business. Nervously, Xiejin Shui was very close to stand up and apologize. But he pushed down the urge since he noticed that Suoping was not blaming him. To stand up would be embarrassing, as a matter of fact. Mr. Su, you're right. That was ill-considered. I thought you were merely playing around with the store. Xiejin Shui reacted quickly. Suoping was speechless. Why does everyone think I'm merely playing around? Am I too handsome to be a businessman? Truth be told, I am as serious with the business as anyone can be. Since the 5 family heads were also there, Suoping took the chance. Anyone who affects my business is my opponent. Following the same logic, anyone who comes to support my store will be my friend. The 5 family heads looked at each other. The Tang family elders and Xieganj were just as baffled. There's a legendary battle pet warrior here and you have such a great talent, and now you're telling us you're a serious businessman. Why would you waste time you could spend cultivating on doing business? Was this all to experience a different lifestyle? Really? It's not like you could learn some great rules of the world. No one knew what to say. But since Suoping was serious, they all committed his words to their memories. Maybe doing business is just one of this freak's hobbies? Many people had hobbies. Some liked having affairs, or killing others, for example. Then why couldn't he like doing business? That had to be the reason. They began to think about how to have a closer relationship with Suoping by leveraging this information. Everyone was pondering. Suoping wondered if he had made himself clear. But that was all that he was going to say. It would be up to them to see how well they could understand. If you can understand my intention, come often for professional training then. Mr. Su, the event this time has stirred up a huge sensation. I took the liberty to block the information to protect your privacy, since I couldn't find you anywhere in the past few days. If you're okay with people knowing, I will no longer block the news. If you want to withdraw from society and continue to live here, I will keep your information confidential. What do you think? Xiejin Shui gazed at Suoping. He preferred that Suoping could keep on living there. The store had been in the base city for a long time, but only recently did he learn about the legendary battle pet warrior living in the store. There were 2 legendary battle pet warriors in the subcontinent district, but the girl was not one of them. The one in the store was surely one of those that preferred living in solitude. That was why he chose to protect Suoping's information. He didn't even tell the family heads when they came to him for information about the store. He was afraid that he would anger the legendary powerhouse. After all, for those living in solitude, the most unacceptable thing was that their information would become public knowledge. Besides, it was rare that a legendary battle pet warrior would visit the base city. Xiejin Shui would loathe to anger Suoping to a point that he would want to move to another base city. Suoping was surprised to hear that. Just let it be. You don't have to keep anything confidential on purpose. Suoping didn't mind if people learned about the legendary battle pet warrior in the store. As a matter of fact, that would do good to the reputation of the store. Xiejin Shui was baffled. He must have misjudged the legendary battle pet warrior who turned out not to be a hermit. Xiejin Shui was afraid to voice his confusion. Sure. You can contact me at any time if needed. Here's my number. Do you want to keep it? Okay, Suoping said. Since he was living in the Longjiang base city, it was inevitable that he would have to trouble Xiejin Shui for some matters in the future. It would be best if he could contact him easily. Xiejin Shui smiled as Suoping typed the number into his phone. To be able to build a relationship with a person that was close to a legendary battle pet warrior would mean forging a relationship with the legendary battle pet warrior directly. Suoping had even greater potential than people like Venerable the Blade. If Suoping could reach the legendary rank, then what Xiejin Shui had done this day would be worthwhile. An investment in friendship. Anything else you would want me to know, Mr. Su? Xiejin Shui said politely without assuming an air of an official. Suoping shook his head. Just unblock my street. Besides that, if you could repair the street so that people can drive here, I will transfer you the money for the repair, of course. Xiejin Shui nodded, but he waved his hands upon hearing the last few words. Mr. Su, I cannot let you pay for the repairs. I'm the one running the Longjiang base city. The street not being in good enough condition is my responsibility. Mr. Su, don't worry. I will also take care of the streets nearby, they should be ready soon. Also, I'm planning on changing this zone into a huge center for battle pets with your pet store at the core and other facilities as support. This way, Mr. Su, your store will do much better. Su Ping nodded. He shared the same thought about changing the zone into a more prosperous place. You can tell me whenever you need money from me. I have lots of it. Su Ping nodded. Thank you, Mr. Su, Xiejin Shui said. Qin Duhuang, Mu Bahai and the others were full of complex thoughts. Xiejin Shui was the one who had gained the most out of the incident. All the 5 major families had to suffer some losses, to various degrees. However, Xiejin Shui had always known about Su Ping's store. He came prepared and managed to befriend Su Ping. With Su Ping's store there, the zone would develop soon, it would become a new economic center for the Longjiang base city. When people learned about the legendary battle pet warrior in the Longjiang base city, many people would relocate to be close. After all, many wild beasts were outside a base city, which wasn't that safe, per se. However, a base city with a legendary battle pet warrior was different and could attract many human resources. The Longjiang base city could progress because of that, to eventually become a first-tier base city. That was why Xiejin Shui was eager to cozy up to Su Ping, doing all he could to prevent him from leaving the base city. At that time, he could focus his mind on cultivation. After the Tang family was overwhelmed and the Star organization was forced back, and seeing how the 5 major families were acting scared in front of him, Su Ping had become more aware of how important strength was. With enough strength, anything he wanted would come unrequested. Without enough strength, he could ask for things, but that would be more like begging. After the mayor left, Su Ping saw the 5 family heads and the others off as well. Before Mai Shuangguan walked out the door, she checked and saw that Su Ping didn't even give her an extra look. She was relieved and disappointed at the same time. Su Ping must have forgotten about a nobody like her. At the same time, Qin Shoutian had gotten into the car. With an extremely low voice and biting his teeth, Qin Shoutian said, "Grandpa, I have to go to the Valiant Academy. I have to grow." What he saw this day had crushed his confidence. Even his grandpa, whom he had always held in respect, had to act carefully in front of Su Ping. It was because of Su Ping's power. Qin Shoutian wished he could have that kind of power immediately, and that he could reach the titled rank without delay so that he could start working on reaching the legendary rank. Everything would be different once he became a legendary battle pet warrior. Qin Duhuang nodded silently. He had brought Qin Shoutian along because he knew what was going to happen. This day's visit would inspire Qin Shoutian. The other family heads were afraid to bring along their future family heads, worried that Su Ping would launch an attack against them all. But Qin Duhuang was sure that Su Ping was not going to do that. As a matter of fact, this could be a good lesson for Qin Shoutian. Young people had to be inspired. Only in such a way could the young be motivated to challenge their limits and to try their best. Qin Xiaoshan's reaction told Qin Duhuang that he had made the right decision. He knew that the Valiant Academy had a much fiercer competition than in the academies located in the Longjiang base city. The Valiant Academy gathered the most talented of the subcontinent district. The major families, factions, including the Star organization, and some titled battle pet warriors at the peak would send their young to that academy. Combat skills were not the only thing to be learned in the academy. The students could make connections that they never would otherwise. Of course, the competition there was brutal. People without determination could hardly last for long. At the store, after the 5 major families left, Xieganj and the Tang family elders said goodbye to Su Ping as well. Xieganj left the store and flew away. Suiping watched as they went out of the door. He darted a look at Tang Ruyan, who was standing there in a daze. He waved his hand in front of her eyes and said, "Hey! They're gone, you know." Tang Ruyan came back to her senses. "I know." He forced a smile. Suiping gazed at the ugly smile she produced. The Tang family elders didn't even look at her. He shook his head at their departing figures. "Yes. Do you still want to go back to the Tang family? If you want, you can leave whenever you like," Suiping said. He could feel that Tang Ruyan was still concerned about the Tang family. That was her family, the root tying her to the world. Her heart wouldn't have a place to stay if she stopped worrying about them. Tang Ruyan was surprised. She stared at him. It never occurred to her that he would say such things. He was letting her leave? That was her wish, had been her wish, rather. But all of a sudden, she realized she could not say she wanted to go back. Back to the Tang family. But she was just a stand-in. A broken front that could no longer provide protection. What was the point of going back? The several elders who showed up didn't even ask her if she wanted to go with them before they left. Was there anyone from her family longing for her return? That was her family, but no one was looking forward to seeing her. What was the meaning of returning home? Tang Ruyan didn't know. She had no answer. Or maybe, she did know the answer but was just too afraid to acknowledge it. She bit her lips and slowly, she shook her head. No, she was low-spirited, losing her heart. Suiping gazed at her for a moment and patted her shoulder. "Since that is your family and since your name is Tang, it would only be proper for you to go back. However, it should be them coming here for you, at all costs, and your return shall be honorable and dignified." Tang Ruyan trembled. Tears burst out of her eyes as she stared at him. "You're no longer a double. You're a person who has a name. You don't have to cover for anyone or live as anyone else. You are you. You are Tang Ruyan." Suiping said this to her, word for word. Tang Ruyan felt something break in her heart. Tears coursed down her cheeks. She threw herself to his shoulders and burst into a rage of tears. For the first time, Suiping didn't push her away, simply letting her tears drench his shirt. He listened as she cried and stared at the sky outside the store, his mind wandering. A long time passed. Tang Ruyan was getting tired and had finally calmed herself down. She moved away from Suiping's shoulder, flushed, and rubbed her swollen eyes. "Thank you." Suiping came back to his senses and cast a gaze at her. "Thank you for comforting me," Tang Ruyan looked into his eyes and said sincerely. It was the first time that Suiping had seen this sincere side of her. She was not faking anything and she wasn't acting like an unruly woman. She was as honest as one could be. Suiping kept silent for a second before he said, "I'm not merely comforting you. I meant what I said." Tang Ruyan smiled. "I know. I will work hard." Suiping looked into her eyes for a bit longer but said nothing else. The eye contact meant more than words. As the five major families, the Tang family and the Star organization left, Dahuaxi Street went back to its normal quietness. Soon, the street was unblocked. The information that had been kept confidential was released online. The videos that some nearby residents took when the Tang family's battle pet warriors were arriving were put online as well. Since the government was no longer blocking the passage of information, many pieces of news were published. The videos and news gave another boost to the Pixie Pet Store's reputation. There were clamors in the comments about the authenticity of the videos and people held different views. Some were convinced and some people would simply not buy it. After all, what happened in the video was so shocking that many believed the video was fake. Something like that couldn't happen in real life. Either way, the Pixie Pet Store had once again become famous overnight. On the other hand, Primo announced its closure. All the branch stores across the Longjiang base city were closed. In the meantime, they issued a notification on their official website. It was more like an apology letter than an announcement, and the letter was addressed to the Pixie Pet Store. That piece of news certainly caused a stir. They remembered the competition. But in the beginning, no one would have anticipated that Primo would lose all its business. That night, Dahuaxi Street was bustling with noise and excitement. The street was completely crowded. Countless reporters were waiting there and many people had gone there, attracted by the mysterious store's fame. Suaping contacted the customers to go there and pick up their trained battle pets so that he could make room for a new batch. Since he was having more and more customers, Suaping wrote down the prices on a board and hung it on a wall by the door. Suaping wanted to put up a photo wall in the store as well, to place photos of some of his recurrent customers and their battle pets as memorabilia. The system gave its support to that idea immediately. Before Suaping wondered if he should find a construction team, a photo wall rose abruptly out of the ground, by the store's foyer. Of course, there were no customers when that happened. Only Tang Ruyan and Joanna were in the store other than Suaping. Tang Ruyan found that surprising, but she didn't overthink it because she knew that some battle pets of the Stone family could do that. "Sir, are the videos online authentic? I heard that you have a legendary battle pet warrior here. Is that true?" Many customers couldn't stop the urge to seek confirmation from Suaping. The repeated customers were particularly curious and excited. But Suaping didn't offer any answers. Some customers saw the price list, only to be stunned still. They had heard rumors online that the service charges in Suaping's store were exceptionally high, but they never thought the prices would be so outrageous. Professional training of advanced battle pets was 100 million per time. 100 million? That was enough money to buy a 9th-rank battle pet about to reach adulthood. But in this store, that was merely enough for one round of training. Even the repeated customers were startled by the whooping price of professional training. How unbelievable this was! Among the customers, even the well-off ones merely had a family wealth of tens of millions. Few of the customers could afford the price range in the hundreds of millions. Those that could afford it would rather avoid spending all their family wealth on one round of professional training. Soon, many people made the connection between the prices and the closure of the Primo chain. They no longer had a favorable view of the Pixie Pet Store. The Pixie Pet Store was being unethical. They took advantage of Primo's closure and hiked the price because this was the only leading pet store on the market at the moment. Many new customers left in anger. While they were furious, none of them dared to show their indignation in the store. They were heading back to vent their anger online. The repeated customers, on the other hand, gradually accepted the price after the initial stage of astonishment. They had all experienced Suaping's services and were well aware that the effect of the training was something that money could not value. No other pet store could compete with Suaping's. Many repeated customers were curious as to what a training priced at 100 million could do. Unfortunately, they could not afford this amount of money, or else they would have liked to try it. Because of the outrageous prices, many customers that had been attracted here by the store's fame left in disappointment. But the repeated customers stayed and kept on choosing the services as they did before. Suaping didn't bother to explain anything to anyone. All of a sudden, a familiar face popped into his sight. It was Qin Shuhei. Qin Shuhei looked at Suaping with a smile. "Mr. Su, I'm here to support your business." In the old days, Qin Shuhei would call Suaping Brother Su, but he no longer dared to use that name given the recent events. Of course, he was also trying to feel Suaping out by addressing him as Mr. Su. Suaping shook his head with a smile. "Finally, you're here. I've been waiting for rich people like you." Qin Shuhei forced a smile as he remembered how Suaping said he was serious about doing business. "The Supremacy League will start soon. You're not going?" Suaping remembered that he could get that talent stone if he chose to compete in the Supremacy League. That was what piqued his interest. "Tell me again when it is close to starting. I may as well participate." "Sure," Qin Shuhei said. The Supremacy League would become so much more interesting if Suaping joined in. I heard that the pet training in your store is very good and I want to try. Do you offer training for advanced battle pets? Qin Shuhei asked. Suaping nodded. Of course. You couldn't have come at a better time. That service has just become available today. Qin Shuhei felt a bit weird. Was Suaping not confident enough before? Or, was he launching the service today because the business was good for him after the Primo stores closed? Was he doing this to accumulate wealth by unfair means? He might have thought of this if this store owner was someone else. However, he also had to think this since Suaping was a man who was doing business as a hobby. That being said, since he was already there, leaving right away would seem offensive to Suaping. Then I will oblige. Qin Shuhei smiled on the outside but curled his lips on the inside. He didn't dare to give Suaping his major battle pet. Rather, Qin Shuhei summoned a battle pet that was merely about 5 meters tall and at the lower position of the 9th rank. The battle pet was his secondary pet, an earthen turtle. The most noticeable advantage of the earthen turtle was that it had tough skin and Qin Shuhei would use it as his shield in battles. The Supremacy League is going to start in a week. Can you finish the training before that? Qin Shuhei asked. He would certainly use the earthen turtle in the competition. If the training couldn't end before then, it would put him in a pickle. Qin Shuhei didn't know what to say. He had traveled extensively across many base cities and visited many pet stores, where he met many master trainers. But never once did he hear that anyone could finish training a battle pet within a day. Unless the training was casual. But in that case, the effect would be weak. As such, Qin Shuhei was even more convinced that Suaping was bullying people. That being said, he couldn't voice that doubt. What could he do even if Suaping was ripping him off? Of course, he could only give money to Suaping willingly. He was there to support Suaping's business. In other words, he went there to give money to Suaping. Since Suaping didn't even hide his money-grabbing intentions, Qin Shuhei could only oblige. Well, fine. I'll come back and pick up my pet tomorrow, Qin Shuhei replied with a smile while he inwardly blurted out some curses. Suaping asked, do you want general training or professional training? He didn't hide his anticipation. Qin Shuhei was about to ask about the differences between the two when he noticed the price list which astonished him. 100 million, for professional training? Qin Shuhei blinked. His eyes did not lie to him. It was not 10,000. It was 100 million. No kidding. Suaping was pricing his services in millions. How ridiculous that was. Qin Shuhei curled his lips. Not even the top-level master trainers would charge such exorbitant prices. Besides, when those master trainers did charge 100 million, the training would take at least a month, and such training would be considered to have the highest quality. And yet, Suaping claimed that he could finish the process in one day when he charged 100 million. He was practically telling everyone that he was ripping them off. Qin Shuhei turned around. Suaping's glowing eyes almost froze Qin Shuhei on the spot. The latter pushed down the urge to use swear words and produced a forced smile. Well then, professional training it is. He felt he had exhausted his energy as he uttered those words. His heart was dripping blood. He was giving away 100 million to Suaping. He had to pay the money by himself. No, he had to go back and get reimbursed. Qin Shuhei decided. The pain in his heart was eased somewhat. He hoped that spending 100 million could bring them a little bit closer. That would make the expenditure more worthwhile. Brother Qin, what good eyes you have! Suaping praised Qin Shuhei. Qin Shuhei laughed a hollow laugh. Now you call me Brother Qin? Why didn't you say anything when I called you Mr. Su? You seem to be enjoying that. Although resentful, there was nothing Qin Shuhei could have done. Theoretically speaking, he and Suaping didn't share a close relationship. They merely came to know each other because of the trades they conducted while in the mysterious realm. Truth be told, Qin Shuhei wanted to befriend Suoping because he valued his talent and intended to invite him to join the Qin family. Qin Shuhei would have never wasted time chatting with just anyone. Back then, he didn't know that Suoping was a diamond in the rough. It turned out that the Qin family wasn't good enough for Suoping and they could never afford to offend him. Sure thing. Brother Su, you have my full trust. Qin Shuhei buried that thought deep in his heart, not letting anything show. He had already paid the money. Displeasing Suoping would do him no good at this point. Qin Shuhei had to use the chance and butter Suoping up. At the same time, he did the natural thing of changing his form of address to Brother Su again. After all, Suoping was the one who called him Brother Qin first. Going back to calling him Brother Su was not impolite at this point. Suoping didn't pay attention to that, to call each other brothers was normal. As people always said, it was always a pleasure to greet a friend from afar and everyone who came with money was a friend. As a qualified store owner, he had to build up a deep, pure friendship with his customers. Joanna, come and take the turtle away, Suoping said to Joanna who was standing by the pet room's door. He asked this of her so that the pet wouldn't get in the way. The earthen turtle was mild in nature. But as Joanna stepped closer, its keen sense noticed something and instincts kicked in. The earthen turtle felt a strange pressure, it became afraid, as if a natural enemy was near. The earthen turtle stepped back slowly, unwilling to be close to that petite girl. Qin Shuhei looked at the girl with the golden hair, startled. He felt his heart skip a beat. Previously, the girl had used one spear and killed the dark feather phoenix, and with just one more move, she deterred the 3 Tang family elders and killed 2,000 battle pet warriors of the Tang family. He still remembered that scene vividly. Clearly afraid, Qin Shuhei bowed and said with respect, "Nice to meet you." Joanna stopped and darted a glance at him. You don't deserve to talk to me. PFF. So, straightforward. Qin Shuhei curled his lips. He was just trying to be polite. Did you have to be so mean? Suoping frowned and said to Joanna, "Be careful and polite. Brother Qin is our customer and a customer is a god. Yeah well, he's not worthy enough to talk to you but you shouldn't have said it out loud." How harsh the words must have sounded to him. What if Brother Qin felt inferior and stopped coming to the store, then we wouldn't be able to make money, make a friend out of him. Joanna raised her eyebrows. I understand. She nodded to Suoping. Qin Shuhei, Ovo. I was right. Slip of the tongue. Unethical. You dirty merchant. But what was more surprising for Qin Shuhei was that Suoping dared to talk to the legendary battle pet warrior like that. How come you're not afraid that she could slap you to death? Previously, Qin Shuhei thought the girl was Suoping's teacher. But the conversation had shifted his initial thoughts. He had to say, this was an important piece of information. That being said, on second thought, this information was useless. What was the point whether she was his teacher or not? This legendary battle pet warrior was still here with Suoping and it seemed that their relationship was close. As long as the girl was still with him, no one would dare to upset Suoping. However, this trip to the store was not entirely futile. At least, he found out the name of the girl from Suoping. Joanna. Not a good name. Oh no, an uncommon name in the subcontinent district. She must be from another continent. But why would she come to the subcontinent district? Why weren't the 2 legendary battle pet warriors in this subcontinent district giving any responses? This was their territory. Qin Shuhei had many questions unanswered. He was just a titled battle pet warrior and he didn't have the right to communicate with a legendary battle pet warrior just yet. Only people like Venerable the Blade who was at the peak of the titled rank could find some way to take a peek into the world of the legendary battle pet warriors. Or, if he joined the tower and worked for the legendary battle pet warriors, he could get involved in their world as well. He was fine with it, even if working in the tower meant he would be bullied. At the very least, he could take a look at them. But Qin Shuhei didn't plan on joining the tower. He would never leave easily once he did. The titled battle pet warriors who were working in the tower could disclose much about the situation in the tower, not even about the most trivial matters. For example, if someone even commented about a legendary battle pet warrior's stinky feet, the latter would end the former's life. "Let's go," Joanna said to the earthen turtle. With that, she gave it a condescending and kind look. The earthen turtle was shaking, even trying to hide in its shell. The earthen turtle's fear and resistance pulled Qin Shuhei back to reality. Given Joanna's identity, he understood why his battle pet would be scared. He wasn't doing any better. He immediately calmed the earthen turtle down so that it would go after Joanna. Qin Shuhei gently comforted the earthen turtle for a long while before it was willing to go after Joanna, albeit quite slowly. At a speed of 2 centimeters per minute. Joanna had already arrived in the pet room. She turned around, only to see that the earthen turtle was still near the counter. She gave the earthen turtle an even kinder look. Whoosh! The earthen turtle suddenly began to walk at a fast and vigorous pace. It was a speed that not even a trackman could reach. The earthen turtle went to the pet room and vanished into it. A racing turtle. Qin Shuhei was surprised and worried. But since Suiping was running a business, he wouldn't kill the battle pet. "Come back tomorrow," Suiping reminded Qin Shuhei. Qin Shuhei nodded and replied with a forced smile, "Thank you, Brother Su, you're welcome. We're friends, you know." "Sure, I know." When Qin Shuhei turned around and went away, the others waiting in line gazed at him with surprise. The earthen turtle was a battle pet with a 9th rank bloodline. That earthen turtle had reached the 9th rank. A person who could control a battle pet like this would at least be an advanced battle pet warrior. Being a master battle pet warrior was very likely. Many people watched Qin Shuhei respectfully as he left. A master battle pet warrior was not all that easy to meet. That was part of the reason why people were questioning the authenticity of the incredible battle outside the store. More customers came after Qin Shuhei left. Soon, all spots had been taken. Though it pained Suiping to say goodbye to the huge crowd, he had to do so. After the customers were gone, Suiping closed the door, grabbed Joanna, and hurried to the demigod burial at once. He planned on finishing training all the battle pets overnight. Besides, since he had spent 5 days in the mysterious realm, there had to be more people in the demigod burial ready for their heavens tests again. Suiping could loaf off another round of heavens tests to refine his strength. "I'm going to take care of the store's business tonight and let Joanna take care of the store tomorrow. I have to get the mission done first. I do have a week, but I would rather get it over with earlier. A long delay may cause trouble." Suiping developed a plan. He went to the demigod burial again. He missed the familiar smell. Joanna was in a better mood since she went back after 5 days. When Joanna returned to her residence, the many celestial gods were gladly surprised. They had thought something had happened to her. Joanna comforted her subordinates and began to help Suiping out. Suiping let Joanna take away all the middle-rank battle pets that needed professional training and told her to get someone to take care of the pets. As for the earthen turtle, the training would be much harder, so Suiping was going to do that himself. But before that, he had to finish the heavens tests first. The notice for finding people who were about to take heavens tests was still posted. In this world, almost 2 months had passed when only 5 days had gone by in the outside world. Over 10 people about to go through the test were gathered during this time. The guard protecting the mountain said that there were more than 30 people originally, but some of them could no longer hold back and had to finish the test first. Some waited too long without hearing back from Joanna, so they gave up on waiting for her and left. Those 10 had arrived recently. Suiping felt quite sorry, but feeling sorry wouldn't get those who left back. He had to take what he could get. This time, Suiping took the little skeleton with him as well. The 7th rank little skeleton couldn't be revived in the cultivation site when the professional training was unavailable. But this day, he could start torturing the little skeleton again. Soon, a thundercloud with a diameter of more than 100,000 meters appeared in the sky. This time, Suaping was not the reason, but the golden dragon hound. This was its turn. The golden dragon hound could only stir up a thundercloud of over 30,000 meters, but that had increased to over 100,000 meters. Suaping never saw that coming, and Joanna was dumbstruck. She would have never thought that. She wasn't even better than a dog. No way could it happen here. This had come as a heavy blow for Joanna. She could understand that Suaping was more talented than she was because of the mysterious and ancient being. But this dog? No way. It was no surprise that the golden dragon hound's aptitude was increasing. After all, considering its combat strength, the dog could fight an average legendary being when the dog itself was at the 6th rank. That was an achievement that not even Suaping could accomplish. The one who summoned heaven's test stood under the large thundercloud, dumbfounded. Everyone on the mountain was gazing at the thundercloud as well. The overwhelming pressure and the claps of thunder even alerted some in the distant city. Many people flew up to the sky and looked over. Another rare talent. The more powerful ones in the city were stunned. A thundercloud with a diameter of over 100,000 meters was rarely seen. However, in the past 6 months, many such thunderclouds had appeared above the mountain. There had been some rumors running around, that some that were long deceased had been reincarnated. It seemed that those were not merely rumors after all. On the mountain, after the golden dragon hound was struck to death by the lightning, Suaping commanded the little skeleton to take the golden dragon hound's place. It was the first time for the little skeleton to experience the heaven's test. The foul and dark air around the little skeleton was dispersed a little bit as the lightning struck the little skeleton, but soon, more dark energy surged out. The little skeleton was also able to induce a thundercloud with a diameter of 100,000 meters. That had come as a surprise to Suaping. After all, the little skeleton's aptitude was not rated as above average. Theoretically speaking, the thundercloud should be smaller. But soon, Suaping had figured it out. The little skeleton's aptitude was not rated as above average, but that was because the system was making the comparison against all of the little skeleton's race that had been born since the beginning of time. The little skeleton's race was the Skeleton King's race, which was ferocious and tough. Of all skeleton kings, the little skeleton was not among the better ones. But in comparison against all the other creatures in the universe, the little skeleton couldn't be regarded as bad. Truth be told, the little skeleton, same as the golden dragon hound, was able to go beyond the legendary rank in the future. After all, both the Dragon King and the Skeleton King were creatures above the legendary rank. Joanna had just calmed herself down when the thundercloud induced by the little skeleton threw her into another round of shock. The god warrior standing by her was just as astounded. Another battle pet like this? What were they? Even a battle pet was doing better than him. What a slap on the face! Joanna stood in a daze with a dull look in her eyes. That can't be true. Joanna, the reincarnation of her original true self, was considered quite talented, as she was able to induce a thundercloud of over 100,000 meters. As it turned out, she was on the same level as Suaping's battle pets. She would always feel embarrassed around Suaping from then on. Such humiliation! So unfair! Joanna bit her lips. She couldn't even find a single word to describe her mood. If Suaping knew what was going on inside her mind, he would offer the perfect phrase, "So eat up." As the little skeleton was rendered dust by the lightning, Suaping had the purple python and the inferno dragon go one after the other. The purple python and the inferno dragon could merely induce a thundercloud of about 20,000 meters, much smaller than that of the little skeleton and the golden dragon hound. After all, the little skeleton and the golden dragon hound were practically cheating, since they had been blessed with great legacies. Suaping joined in as well. Soon, his thundercloud began to grow. First, it went up to 100,000 meters, and the growth continued until the diameter reached about 180,000 meters. Suoping remembered that the diameter of the thundercloud was 135,000 meters on his first attempt. This time, there was an additional 50,000 meters. This had to be because of the first layer of the solar bulwark. Of course, the growth of the golden dragon hound and the little skeleton was considered as part of his strength as well. Suoping's personal combat strength was weaker than that of the little skeleton and the golden dragon hound. Still, the two were his battle pets. The heavens test would regard the two battle pets as part of Suoping. That was why Suoping was able to induce a thundercloud larger than what his pets could. Joanna felt she was about to collapse on the ground when she saw the growth of the thundercloud. This guy became even more formidable than before. The thing was that this guy wasn't even at the titled rank yet. Who could tell how the thundercloud would be like when the guy went there for his own heavenly test? Joanna felt an urge to be reincarnated into a new body and start all over again. Suoping felt refreshed after loafing off heaven's tests of over 10 people. The energy inside him became lighter. If the prior volume of energy could be compared to a lake, then the current volume would be that of a small pond. If the weight of the energy was like a drop of water before, the energy merely weighed like mist at the moment. One mental command and the energy could reach every part of him. Within an instant. Suoping believed that his energy bursts were 2 times as powerful as before. If a titled battle pet warrior was standing within Suoping's attack range, he could punch the former to death before realizing what was happening. That was how fast Suoping could be. Upon finishing an internal checkup, Suoping then inspected the little skeleton and his other battle pets. All of their combat strengths were increased. Same as the energy in Suoping, the energy in his battle pets had been improved in all aspects. They were far superior when compared to their peers concerning the amount, richness of energy, and how fast they could unleash their energy. Afterward, Suoping told Joanna to introduce the little skeleton to a celestial god who was good at sabers and swords to give it some lessons. Suoping had previously gained a general idea about the different states in the legendary rank. He took the chance to ask Joanna and found out that the celestial gods living in the demigod burial were comparable to legendary battle pet warriors at the fate state. God warriors were above the legendary rank. The major gods were even more powerful than that. A celestial god, who was comparable to a legendary rank battle pet warrior at the peak, was more than qualified to teach the little skeleton. If Suoping would have found the little skeleton a god warrior as a teacher, it might not be able to digest the information. The little skeleton would be taking lessons, as opposed to receiving legacies that would be imprinted on its mind directly. Suoping also asked some celestial gods to teach the golden dragon hound and the inferno dragon. The two battle pets no longer needed confrontations with death, they needed to stabilize their foundations. They had to learn some combat strengths which would be combined with their primal fighting instincts. That was how the golden dragon hound and the little skeleton would be able to completely digest the legacies they had received. Constantly being threatened by death would not always inspire them. Having made arrangements for his battle pets, Suoping went ahead and started to train Qin Shuhei's earthen turtle. The earthen turtle was nervous in that unfamiliar environment. In this place, celestial gods and true gods were countless. Any one of them could make the earthen turtle shudder with fear. Suoping realized that the earthen turtle needed to be emboldened. A battle pet with a mild nature was unqualified for battle. Especially those that had fatal dangers. A battle pet with a mild temperament could be stunned into incompetence when some ferocious battle pets used deterrence skills. Suoping asked for the location of a more perilous location from Joanna and took the earthen turtle there. The earthen turtle was able to maintain a basic level of loyalty with the help of the temporary contract, which enabled the pet to listen to Suoping. After they arrived, Suoping started the familiar way of training. Revive. 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 There were several standards for qualified professional training of advanced pets. First of all, the pet's aptitude had to be rated as average. If the pet was already average, then the training would require for the pet to learn an advanced skill or have an increase of 0.5 points in combat strength. For advanced pets, an increase of 0.5 in combat strength was incredible enough. In particular, for 9th rank battle pets, to have an increase of 0.5 in combat strength would be unbelievably hard. Of course, if the battle pets of the 9th rank could learn one advanced pet skill, the training would be deemed just as satisfactory. After all, advanced pet skills were not easy to learn. The advanced pet skill could usually give a great boost to the pet's combat strength. Take the little skeleton as an example. A legendary skill such as Gate of the Dead had brought about a sharp increase in the little skeleton's combat strength. The training days had completely changed the earthen turtle. Its paws became sharper and new, sharp spikes grew out from its shell. The earthen turtle looked nothing like before. It had become a ferocious beast that was filled with killing intent. The training had been quite easy for Suaping to conduct, since the earthen turtle had never been trained in the cultivation site before. The only thing he had to do was to put the earthen turtle through more deadly trials. But battle pets that had been trained there many times and had become insensible to death were more difficult to be trained. Suaping would have to rely on channeling energy to the battle pets. After he mastered a trainer's skill, he had come to know a new way to deliver the rules. With that, he could help battle pets to master new skills. Suaping had gained much himself during the process of training the earthen turtle. Finally, he had made the breakthrough to the 7th rank. He had become an advanced battle pet warrior. Upon having reached the 7th rank, Suaping could clearly feel the growth of the cell cores that could house more astral powers, 3 times more than before. The Heavens test had not merely refined Suaping's astral powers, but also his physical body. He was still at the first level of the solar bulwark, but he could tell he had become tougher than before. This was certain. Anyone who was struck by lightning multiple times would have. Suaping went to practice with some true gods to test his abilities. After some fierce battles, Suaping noticed that he could inflict harm like a real legendary battle pet warrior when he exerted full strength. If he could sneak attack a battle pet warrior at the peak of the titled rank, he could kill the latter with one punch. But he was merely at the 7th rank. He was testing his strength and had not calculated his battle pet's strength as part of himself. By the time he broke through to the 8th rank, he would be able to master the skill named sense sharing. For instance, Suaping could borrow his battle pet's sight or hearing, which would increase his power again. Soon, over 10 days had gone by. It was time to leave. Suaping went back to the store and placed the trained battle pets in the nursing pens or the storage space. Over the past 10 days or so, he would leave the demigod burial now and then because there was a limited number of battle pets that he could take with him every time. Suaping had sent the earthen turtle back after its training was finished and picked up other middle-rank battle pets left for professional training. As he reached the 7th rank, he was able to bring more battle pets with him on each trip. At the moment, he could take 10 battle pets at one time. That was the upper limit for those at the titled rank. The trials and tests in the cultivation site had bettered Suaping's spirit by a large margin. He didn't learn any spirit-related skills, and yet he was much better than his peers concerning his spiritual space. The day had come. Suaping went to the bathroom to clean up and shave as per usual. He changed into clean clothes and called Tang Ruyan out. As for Yan Binjiu, Suaping did not bring her out. Yan Binjiu could never work in his store. He still remembered how he killed her maid. Yan Binjiu and Tang Ruyan were different. The former hated his guts. Yan Binjiu tried to hide her hatred and killing intent, but Suaping was too sensitive to be fooled. He didn't plan to move a finger to address this matter. Naturally, he wouldn't set this source of danger free and let her run about in his store. At the same time, Suaping didn't plan on killing her, either. He would keep her in the scroll. In the future, when he set up some temporary base to grow some plants in certain cultivation sites, he could have her watch the plants for him. In other words, he would keep her imprisoned for the rest of her life and she would never see the light of day again. It sounded cruel. But this was how the world was. Once they became enemies, it was a matter of life or death between them. There was no cruelty. When Tang Ruyan went to go and wash up, So Ping heard some chattering outside the store. He went to open the door. There was a sea of people outside. It was still early in the morning, but a large crowd had already gathered outside. As the government unblocked the street, many customers had intended to pay a visit. Besides, the government had been promoting So Ping's store on purpose. At the moment, this street had become the most popular location in the base city. Some repeated customers were thrilled to see So Ping. Finally, he opened the door. Having often witnessed such a scene, the large number of people no longer startled So Ping. Calmly, he went back to the counter. Tang Ruyan had gone out as well by this time. She didn't apply any makeup, but her cheeks were rosy and she was a born beauty. Many customers were unable to take their eyes off of that pretty girl. Some men were even pretending to be shy, acting as if trying to look away. Tang Ruyan had become used to her new identity. What a beautiful new day! She put on a warm smile and greeted the customers gaily. Hey girl, what is your name? Can I have your phone number? Here is my info. Go away. Pretty, I have a house and a car. But I do miss someone to keep me warm. Of course, my son. Dear, open your hands because I have something to give you. Me? Do you want to accept me? Crack. Bones broke. Tang Ruyan asked gently, say that again. The first timers who went to chat Tang Ruyan up were annihilated. The repeated customers who had already learned their lesson were gloating. They had seen a glimpse of themselves in those first timers. The first timers began to behave after being refused by Tang Ruyan. No one dared to flirt with the girl after that. Roses had thorns. But this rosy girl not only had a few thorns, she was made of thorns. She was a shrub of thistles and thorns. Those who had been taught a lesson were standing in line, well behaved, according to Tang Ruyan's kind instructions. So Ping paid no regard to the interactions between Tang Ruyan and the customers. The occasional interaction could liven up the atmosphere. So Ping took out the customers' battle pets one by one. Some of the customers picked up their pets and left right away when others wanted to try them out. Tang Ruyan took them to the test room. With more and more people coming, So Ping realized he was understaffed. Tang Ruyan was getting swamped. She had to greet the customers, show them to the test room, or keep the orders at the door like a guard. Joanna was his employee as well, but So Ping needed her to manage the battle pets and place them in the storage space. After all, So Ping couldn't make the battle pets disappear right in front of the customers. That was a secret of the store and it would be too shocking for the world to know. Not even legendary battle pet warriors had the ability to make something disappear. So Ping noticed that many customers were young people from the 5 major families. He didn't know them. But they would later tell him their names when it was their turn and specify which families they were from. It was obvious they had been sent specifically to support So Ping's business. So Ping nodded to show that he noticed. As for how to reward that behavior, So Ping thought he could just go easier on the bullying. Soon enough, So Ping noticed Qin Shuhei. He was mixed in the crowd, keeping a low key, no one had recognized him. Some of the young people from the major families recognized him, but they were afraid to talk to him or even look his way. They just hid in the crowd. It was Qin Shuhei's turn. He said to So Ping excitedly, "Brother Su, look at how popular your store is." He had to pay So Ping 100 million the previous day, but he went back home and told the family head about the name of the mysterious girl. The family head reimbursed all the expenditure without hesitation. "I guess so," So Ping said casually. "Wait. I'll get your pet." Qin Shuhei nodded. While So Ping was busy in the store, Qin Shuhei didn't feel the least bit envious. Qin Shuhei intended to become a legendary battle pet warrior. Doing business was for the common kind. Sure, he could make money, but then what? Qin Shuhei could not figure out why So Ping would want to waste his talent when he was so young, squandering his life away in that place. So Ping told Joanna to get the earthen turtle. He had to admit that Joanna had been of great help. Tang Ruin might not be able to command a 9th rank pet like the earthen turtle trained by him. Soon, the earthen turtle stepped out from the pet room. What? Qin Shuhei was surprised by the look of the earthen turtle. There are spikes on its back. Why? Stunned, Qin Shuhei checked his consciousness. He could feel the bond of the contract. If it weren't for this, he would suspect that Suoping had swapped his battle pet. But the earthen turtle looked strange. Qin Shuhei was worried. He had heard that there were some quick training methods where people would inject some special potions to the battle pets to stimulate a fast mutation. Was that what Suoping was doing in the store? But special potions like this usually had great side effects. Qin Shuhei was full of complicated feelings. The earthen turtle had crawled to the counter. Suoping picked up the note he had stuck to the turtle's head and said to Qin Shuhei, "You can refer to this. If you want, you are welcome to have a feel for the results in the test room. Your earthen turtle should now have a strength equal to the upper position of the 9th rank." Qin Shuhei took over the note, read it, and stood in a daze after hearing Suoping's words. Qin Shuhei saw the names of many famous skills on the note. My earthen turtle had learned those skills, really? That was not possible. One night had passed. He would believe the increase of strength, but learning all those skills couldn't have been achieved through the use of special potions. Qin Shuhei looked at Suoping and then Joanna, who was standing behind the earthen turtle. He immediately switched to a smiling face and said, "Lady Joanna, nice to see you. Brother Su, don't overthink, of course I trust you. I don't need any tests." Suoping didn't explain. Qin Shuhei most likely would find some place to do the test outside if not there. Anyways, Suoping had done what he should do. "All right, if that is fine with you, put away your battle pet. You should also introduce more rich people to me if you like the result," Suoping said. Qin Shuhei was a connection he could use to gain access to people in the upper class. His business would improve if more titled battle pet warriors could go there. After all, one advanced pet taking a professional training round was equal to 100 low-rank pets taking the general training. Because of the system's scrutiny, Suoping didn't enjoy the liberty to choose his customers. Therefore, to make more money, he had to attract more customers that would choose professional training. Sure. I will introduce someone to you later," Qin Shuhei promised. It was not like he had another choice when the legendary rank girl was there. But he was unhappy on the inside. Qin Shuhei left in a hurry after making the promise, afraid that Suoping would ask him for something else. He went back to the Qin family estate at once and went to one of their large battle stadiums. He called a family elder. "You want to do a test?" "Yeah." "Nothing serious," Qin Shuhei said. He went inside, summoned the earthen turtle, and waited for the family elder to arrive. Back in the store, Suoping received several more customers after Qin Shuhei left. Before he closed the door, he told Joanna some things for her to take care of because he was going to the Trainers Association to finish his mission. He had ample business in the store and no one was competing against him. He would rather finish the mission earlier and get the reward. Compared to the energy points income, Suoping needed the skill book more. After all, some skill books couldn't even be found in the systems shop. He would have to be extremely lucky to find them. Even if he could, the price would be overwhelming. As for pet training, Joanna was not allowed to go to the cultivation site by herself. Suoping had to be the one taking her there. That being said, Joanna could help Suoping use the dummy trainer. Suoping just needed to pick out the cultivation sites for the dummy training before he left. Joanna could pick out battle pets from the storage space and put new ones in. That way, when Suoping was away, Joanna could still keep the store running. Even though she would only be able to finish the general training, making some money was better than making no money. Suoping told Joanna everything she needed to know. Then, he looked at Tang Ruin. This time, he didn't send her back into the scroll. Joanna would be too busy on her own. Remember to help Joanna out, So Ping said to Tang Ruyan. Tang Ruyan was more than happy that she didn't have to get into the scroll. She nodded at once. Ever since she saw Joanna demonstrate her skills, Tang Ruyan had never dared to argue with her again. So Ping had no worries when leaving the store to the two girls. Joanna was a ruler of a region in the demigod burial and she was a qualified manager. She was more than enough to take care of the store for him. During lunch, So Ping went back home and told his mother and So Lingyu that he had to go away for a few days. But he said he would be back in 5 days at most. He said 5 days because he had been given 7 days to finish the mission and 2 days had already passed. So Lingyu was just curious but she didn't ask too many questions. She knew that So Ping was not the boy she once knew. He was destined to do something she couldn't get involved in. If she wanted to get involved, she would have to become stronger in order to catch up with him. As to his mom, Li Qingru wanted to make detailed inquiries but So Ping just gave her the runaround. Of course, So Ping wasn't tired of that, Li Qingru merely asked because she cared. After lunch, So Ping was ready to go. He took his leave without delay. He would take the underground railroad to the base city that the Trainers Association of the Subcontinent District was located. As for why he didn't choose the faster way and ride on his battle pet, the reason was simple, he did not know the way. Up until then, So Ping had always been in the base city. He had never gone to another base city, which, truth be told, was rather common in that day and age. Merely those who were quite active would run across different base cities. The general public was able to travel to other base cities as well by using the underground railroad, but most people would choose to stay in the base cities they had been born in. After all, the underground railroad was not quite safe. There would be some accidents every few years that could involve some injuries and deaths. It was impossible to defend effectively against beasts running wild underground. After Li Qingru found out that So Ping was going to leave that same day, she went to get him some clothes and filled an entire backpack for him, along with some food and snacks. Since she had prepared thoroughly, So Ping couldn't say no. He slung the backpack on. Time to go. So Ping said goodbye to his mom and So Lingyu. This was the first time that So Ping would be traveling far. Worried because of this, they wanted to send So Ping to the station but he turned them down. This was just one trip. He wasn't scared, even though he had never been to another base city. He could go around the world if it came to that. That being said, he was still a baby in his mother's eyes, whether he was at the titled rank or not. So Ping told So Lingyu to stall their mom when he grabbed a cab and left. The cross-city underground railway was at the most prosperous area, there was merely one station in the entire shantytown area. So Ping rode on the cab for 2 hours before he arrived at the station in the Crescent Zone. This was still a shantytown area, but the infrastructure was quite better, having become similar to the uptown area by then. There were many towering buildings and the streets were clean and neat. So Ping saw many travelers carrying many bags. Most of them were people without astral powers. Some travelers were in groups and they had astral powers. It seemed that those people were adventurers who were going to seek a living in another base city. So Ping wore a mask as a disguise. He was kind of famous in the Longjiang base city. He could have caused some traffic congestion if he had exposed his face. Following the crowd, he arrived at the ticketing booth underground. There were posters on the 2 sides of the aisle. So Ping saw So Lingyu's posters, as well as her battle pet the Moonfrost Dragon. The influence of the Elite League was still lingering. So Ping saw there were several types of tickets. Hard seats, soft sleeper, single bedroom cabin, and private cabin. The prices for hard seats and soft sleepers ranged from a few hundreds to several thousands, the ones the general public and the usual elites were able to afford. The single bedroom cabins were expensive. The price was over 100,000 federal coins. Of course, the prices varied according to the distance. As for the top-level private cabins, the price was in the millions. Suaping didn't think people would usually want to spend so much money on one trip. Even he would find the price outrageous. Who would spend millions to ride a train? Of course, apart from the comfort in the private cabins, they did come with another benefit. The building materials of the different cabins were special. For example, the entire private cabins were made of a special alloy that could offer a high level of defense. Not even a bomb could destroy those private cabins. Usually, at best, the private cabins could survive an attack by an 8th rank beast. The 8th rank beasts could make the private cabins derail, but the cabins themselves would not be torn open. In case of any accidents, the people inside the private cabins would stand a chance to survive. Suaping believed those private cabins were prepared for the wealthy people that weren't battle pet warriors. After all, the titled battle pet warriors who could afford to spend millions for a train ticket would not suffer any harm even if they ran into 9th ranked beasts. Those people didn't need such private cabins to protect themselves. To avoid any troubles, Suaping chose a coach with single bedrooms. In one coach, there would be several rooms that had a single bed. This way, he could spend some time cultivating in his bedroom while he was on the train. He wasn't in want of money, but at the same time, to spend 1 million to have a coach to himself would be too much of a waste. "Sir, please take your ticket." The female ticket seller behind the counter smiled a sweet smile as she gave Suaping his ticket. Suaping received the ticket. It was dark blue and had a nice texture. He saw the tickets that someone else was holding. Those tickets were as thin as a piece of paper and could be bent easily. Suaping went to find the waiting room according to the information on the ticket. The waiting room for passengers of single-bedroom cabins was less crowded than the other general waiting rooms. The environment was better and there were even sofas available. Suaping looked around. The ones staying there were either battle pet warriors or ordinary people but dressing luxuriously. Suaping found a spot, sat down, and closed his eyes to have some rest. Soon, he heard a noise generated by an airstream, coming closer and closer. Following that was a whooshing sound. Suaping opened his eyes. He saw 2 beams of light through the transparent bulletproof glass as they moved closer in the dark tunnel. The train had arrived. Suaping sized up the train curiously. It was like a metro, but there was something different. The headstock was a ferocious beast face and very vivid at that. It was as if a beast's head had been directly transplanted on the train. The tracks were quite wide. There were special sensors on the wheels. If they weren't looking carefully, the beasts would regard those trains as animals and would dodge out of instinct. The train pulled into the station and stopped. Suaping saw some cabins were crowded and some cabins less so. He realized that he could see through some cabins and even thermal images of people inside. But there were some cabins that he couldn't see through. The materials of those cabins had to be special. Suaping found his room. He heard someone's surprised scream when he was about to push the door open. Following that, Suaping smelled something overly sweet, like candy. Suaping turned around, only to see a dog that was the size of an elephant. The dog had red fur and it was staring at Suaping, showing its teeth. There was some vicious glow in the dog's eyes. It was a red phantom dog, a battle pet with a 7th rank bloodline. This red phantom dog should have just reached adulthood and was at about the 5th rank. Even so, the red phantom dog had already begun to show ferocity. Surprised, Suaping gazed at the dog. He noticed that standing behind the dog was a girl dressed up beautifully. The latter was covering her mouth, at a loss about what to do. Suaping realized that the red phantom dog was the girl's battle pet. But the red phantom dog was losing control. Standing next to Suaping were other passengers who were frightened by the fierce red phantom dog. Some of the passengers were dressed up quite nicely and Suaping could tell they were rich. Visibly scared, those people hurried to the side. They were just ordinary people and they were defenseless in front of the 5th rank red phantom dog. People in other cabins were startled. Someone came out to look. The red phantom dog is losing control. Who is its master? Put it away. I think it belongs to that girl. People commented left and right. As someone had pointed out who the Battle Pet's master was, everyone turned to the girl standing behind the red phantom dog. Several Battle Pet warriors who were more powerful began to scold the girl. The girl just covered her mouth and stood there in a daze, alarmed and bewildered. Sua Ping was speechless. Why would she take out a battle pet that she couldn't tame completely rather than letting the dog stay in her contract space? The dog was losing control and she didn't seem to have the ability to keep it in check. How ridiculous! When he was about to teach the dog a lesson, all of a sudden, he heard a sweet voice. Nobody move. Everyone turned around. It was a slim and tall girl with hair cascading down her shoulders. She had delicate facial features but the coldness on her face made her appear detached. She was talking as if giving orders. Don't be nervous. Your battle pet is emotionally unstable. Do not run and do not turn your back at it. I'm a trainer and I will protect you, the girl said to Sua Ping solemnly. Though her tone was just as cold as the look on her face, her words were warm. Sua Ping? He turned around and saw her eyes. The girl was surprised that Sua Ping was still in the mood to look around at this time. She hurried over to him. In the meantime, the red phantom dog took action. It was like the dog either thought its game had shown a weakness, or that it felt it had been humiliated. The dog showed its sharp fangs. Trembling, the dog barked and went after Sua Ping. Oh crap! Everyone was frightened. The young man was doomed. That was what many people were thinking. The young man, who was standing in front of the red phantom dog, was carrying a common backpack and dressed homely. Some battle pet warriors had noticed there were astral powers in Sua Ping but they thought he was just a low-rank battle pet warrior. Stop! Shouted the icy girl who was hurrying over to Sua Ping's aid. She raised her hand. On her slim wrist was a crystal bracelet. A beam of faint light burst out from her palm. The girl patted the red phantom dog's forehead. Sua Ping was startled by the girl's bold actions. Was she trying to be a hero? He could tell the girl was merely at the 4th rank. She could be torn apart by a 5th-rank red phantom dog in an instant. What gave her the courage to protect other people? While Sua Ping was still in shock, a beam of green light was shot from the girl's hand, which landed on the red phantom dog's head. The next second, the red phantom dog stopped on the spot. Then, the violent look in the red phantom dog's eyes faded away, and its eyes went back to their normal light red color. Woof! The red phantom dog stopped in front of Sua Ping. It barked in confusion and looked around. The red phantom dog saw its master and ran over to her happily. The dog squatted down by the girl and rubbed its head against her dress. The passengers were relieved. Someone praised the girl who was standing by Sua Ping's side. Well done! Impressive! Was that a trainer's skill? That is so good! The others around them clapped to congratulate her. Sua Ping was still in a daze. He didn't expect that the girl would be able to use a trainer's skill and she seemed to be quite good at it. Why didn't you listen to me? Ji Kaihuya first darted a glance at the red phantom dog and then at Sua Ping. Well, Sua Ping opened his mouth but didn't know what to say. Since she did try to save him, Sua Ping managed to find the words. Thank you. Ji Kaihuya snorted. She paid no more attention to Sua Ping and stepped to where the master of the red phantom dog was. The girl had come back to her senses. She bent over to hug her battle pet. What kind of master are you? Don't you know that red phantom dogs cannot eat sweets? Haven't your teachers taught you that? Red phantom dogs can easily go crazy if you feed them candy. Ji Kaihuya looked down at the girl from where she stood. Besides, why didn't you use the power of your contract to contain the dog? What if innocent people got hurt? The girl didn't expect that someone would scold her. In a daze, she looked up, only to see a breathtakingly beautiful girl her age. Reluctant to show weakness, the girl stood up, wiped away the tears she cried out of fear, and refuted, Who the hell are you? What makes you think that you can yell at me? What did you just do to my red? You'll never be able to afford the compensation if something happened to my red. The others glared at the girl. How unreasonable of her. Ji Kaihuyu pulled a long face. I'm just using the trainer's skill to suppress its violent nature. If you suspect that something has happened to your dog, go and have it checked out. Do not let your battle pet stay outside with you if you lack the ability. You would be damned if your dog had hurt anyone. The girl just wouldn't listen to reason. Ji Kaihuyu's face was even more clouded. The other passengers could no longer stand the girl. Someone said, "Hey miss, if it weren't for this trainer, your red phantom dog would have caused great trouble and might have killed a man." Right. Don't let your battle pet stay outside if you cannot control it. Since when can people become battle pet warriors before knowing about anything? The girl didn't expect that the others would also criticize her. Feeling embarrassed, she bit her teeth and glared at Ji Kaihuyu, the culprit who had placed her in such a difficult position. Miss. All of a sudden, 3 people ran into the cabin. All of them were wearing black suits. The leader of the 3 was an old man in his 60s with grey hair. He dashed to where the girl was the moment he found her. Looking at her sad face, the old man gave her a once-over and was relieved to see she had not been hurt in any way. The old man turned around and glared at Ji Kaihuyu, who was standing in front of the girl. "Who are you?" The old man didn't conceal his killing intent. He looked sharply into Ji Kaihuyu's eyes, trying to frighten her. Ji Kaihuyu turned a bit pale and involuntarily took a step back. The other passengers present were also scared. That old man was too intimidating. He had a hunched back, but that didn't change the fact that people saw him like a towering giant. It was as if the old man could crush them all to death within one move. Several 7th-rank battle pet warriors were watching in the crowd. They were stunned the moment the old man demonstrated his energy. The old man was an 8th-rank battle pet warrior. The man that they thought was a bodyguard was a master battle pet warrior. Those advanced battle pet warriors couldn't even think who the unruly girl would have to be if a master battle pet warrior would address her as Miss. All of a sudden, those battle pet warriors felt glad that they had limited themselves to watching without chiming in previously. After the old man demonstrated his strength, those who were scolding the girl immediately stopped, afraid to say another word. Anyone could tell that this old man was not someone who could be displeased. It was likely that the girl was some influential person's daughter, given the status of the old man and how spoiled she was. Since they were all just traveling, no one wanted to get into extra trouble. Sweat oozed out from Ji Kaihuyu's nose. She was only a 4th-rank battle pet warrior. It had already taken her great effort just to remain standing in front of that 8th-rank battle pet warrior. She bit her teeth. Determined and fearlessly, she looked into the old man's eyes. He was surprised. He could tell that the girl was merely at the 4th rank, and it was amazing that she could stand his pressure. He had not demonstrated full strength yet, but even a 6th-rank battle pet warrior would have trembled in front of him, not to mention looking at him. "Tell me. What did you do to our miss?" the old man asked coldly. Before Ji Kaihuyu could answer, someone sneered. "You sure sound intimidating." Everyone looked over. From a room stepped out a man, healthy in his old age. He wore plain clothes and a cold smile. He took a step slowly, but the next second, in a blur, he had reached Ji Kaihuyu. It was as if space and distance didn't matter to him. At the same time, he began to unleash his energy. Another master battle pet warrior. The 7th-rank battle pet warriors who had been hiding in the corners were astounded. They didn't know that the trainer girl was also accompanied by a master battle pet warrior. The other passengers had yet to recover from their previous shock when they suffered another one. That rosy-cheeked old man was not any weaker than the other old man. The old man in the black suit didn't expect that the trainer would also be traveling with a master battle pet warrior. "You did nothing when your dangerous dog was about to hurt people, and now you wanted to intimidate people with violence. What a great deed," the old man with the rosy cheeks stated word by word. The moment he arrived, Ji Kaihuya felt a heavy load had been lifted off from her, as if an umbrella were over her head to protect her. She breathed in relief. "Grandpa, what made you come out?" "If I didn't, someone was going to bully my granddaughter," the old man named Ji Zhantang said to her with a smile. The man in the black suit pointed out, "You have misunderstood me. I'm a master battle pet warrior and I would never hurt the young." Ji Zhantang sneered. Indeed, that old man didn't hurt her. But it was already outrageous that he had tried to frighten her. "I'm just interested to find out what you did to our young lady," the man in the black suit reiterated. True, he was talking to another master battle pet warrior. However, they were still in the Longjiang base city, where his family resided. If a fight couldn't be avoided, he was sure that neither the old man nor his granddaughter would be able to leave Longjiang alive. "What did she do?" "You can just ask your little miss," Ji Zhantang answered. Before Ji Zhantang's voice had faded away, the girl had come back to her senses. She complained, "Mr. Huang, they were just bullying me." The old man in the suit couldn't believe this. It was his fault that the young lady had been humiliated. Ji Kaihuya heard the girl's words. "Just now, it was your battle pet that was going crazy and almost hurt people. No one bullied you. You." The girl glared at Ji Kaihuya. "Going crazy?" The old man in a suit darted a look at the red phantom dog. He already knew what had happened. That was not the first time. The red phantom dog had once bitten someone's legs off and they had managed to pay that man to silence him. Did it happen again? Since the trainer girl was there with a master battle pet warrior, the old man in the suit knew that he had to act reasonably. He looked around and picked out two people from the passengers and told them to move closer. The two were scared but they had to do as told. The old man in the black suit stopped unleashing his threatening energy and asked about the details in a kindly manner. The two were still trembling but they did give an account of the event. They basically said the same things. The old man in a suit finally understood. To his dismay, indeed, they were the ones in the wrong. Also, he had realized that the girl was a trainer. At such a young age, she was able to contain a red phantom dog that was going wild in one move. She was indeed talented. Besides, she didn't harm his young lady. Nothing serious happened, so he no longer had a reason to be so hostile to them. It was time to show his ability as a true butler. He was supposed to be not only strong in strength, but also skillful in talking. To say sorry directly would bring shame to the family. But refusing to make an apology would mean a great insult to the family. "You must be the one the dog has frightened, right?" The old man in the black suit ignored Ji Zhantang and Ji Kaihuya, directly speaking to the event's victim. By doing so, the old man in the black suit was trying to tell Ji Zhantang and his granddaughter that they had been too nosy when they weren't the victims. Frightened. Su Ping was not used to describing himself with this word. "Sort of." The old man in a suit frowned. He took a look at Su Ping's backpack on the ground and the clothes he was wearing. The old man was active in the upper class. He knew all the famous brands well. He could tell right away that the young man was wearing nothing but generic goods. All of his outfits combined would be less than 300 federal coins. He couldn't understand why this young man was staying in this single-bedroom cabin that could cost so much for his status. Did the young man just sell the family house and was thinking about moving? Either way, the old man reached into his chest pocket and took out some paper bills. As a butler, it was his habit to bring cash with him, just to clean up the mess for his young lady. "Here is 10,000 as compensation for you." The old man in the suit handed the paper bills to Su Ping. The former did it in a way as if he were giving alms to a beggar. 10,000 was not a small number, almost equal to what a white-collar worker could make in a month. For a young man who was dressed up that poorly, this had to be a huge amount of money. Both Ji Zhantang and his granddaughter frowned at this. They could feel that the old man in the suit was holding them in contempt for getting involved. While everyone anticipated that the young man was going to take the money, which would bring an end to this story, he did not. Offering me money is not necessary, it wasn't a big deal. But you really should thank the young lady here. If it weren't for her, you would have seen blood when you got here, and if someone ended up getting hurt, money wouldn't have corrected that mistake, Suo Ping said. His reply took everyone aback. The old man's smile froze on his face as he gazed at the young man in a daze. For one thing, the young man had refused to take the money. For another, he was educating him? The young man sounded calm, but it was that very calmness in his tone that made the old man feel strange and uncomfortable. Blood? It wouldn't have been a big deal even if you had been bitten to death. The worst-case scenario was a lawsuit and all they had to do was to settle with money. Was the young man aiming for more than the 10,000? The old man in the suit didn't seem to be happy. Ji Zhantang could argue with him, and that was because Ji Zhantang was an equal. How dare this poor guy talk like this? The old man couldn't swallow the humiliation. He gradually began to unleash his energy. The old man in the suit gazed at Suo Ping coldly. There seemed to be two towering mountains above his shoulders, which were moving toward Suo Ping along his gaze. He wanted to make the young man bend over on the ground, to kneel and say he was sorry. Hey, an old man bullying a kid. Ji Zhantang sneered. He had stepped over before anyone noticed. He gave a look of admiration to Suo Ping and then said to the old man in the suit, he is simply not taking your money. And he's not wrong, you know? If someone had died, you wouldn't have been able to correct that mistake with money. What do you think you can do to him? As he said those words, Ji Zhantang stepped in front of Suo Ping to protect him against the old man's threat. The old man in the suit squinted his eyes and his face became clouded. While the energy between the two old men was becoming more and more intense, they heard a noise. It was the metal door opening. A team of people wearing green armors arrived. Those were the attendants, and they had to be of high rank judging by the armors they were wearing and their shoulder straps. All of the 5 were advanced battle pet warriors. The train is about to depart. Go back to your rooms and do not get into trouble. The team leader was a middle-aged man. He said so even though he was a bit scared by the energy coming off from Ji Zhantang and the old man in the suit. Those attendants were civil servants from the government. They weren't afraid because anyone who dared to offend them would become an enemy of the government. The old man in the suit snorted after the attendants came to maintain order. He said nothing and went back to where his young lady was. Before he left, he took another look at Suo Ping. He had committed the young man's look into memory. Ji Zhantang noticed the look in that old man's eyes, which made Ji Zhantang frown. The onlookers went back to their rooms at the attendant's command. Soon, Ji Zhantang, Ji Kaihuyu, and Suo Ping were the only ones standing in the hallway. Hey, our room is just over there. You can come and grab me at any time if anything happens, Ji Zhantang said to Suo Ping kindly. Suo Ping refrained from explaining a single thing and simply nodded. He, too, had noticed the killing intent the old man in the suit had displayed when he left, but Suo Ping didn't mind it. That old man had better not create any troubles. If he did, Suo Ping would reduce him to dust. Ji Kaihuyu didn't say anything to Suo Ping. When Suo Ping turned down the money, she did think highly of him. But that was it. Ji Zhantang didn't speak too much with Suo Ping. After all, they were mere strangers. He took his granddaughter to their rooms. After they left, Suo Ping took out his room key and inserted it into the slot on the door. The door opened, revealing a small room that was merely 7 to 8 square meters. There was a bathroom, a bed, and minimal space to walk around. Of course, to have such a room on a train was already amazing. Suo Ping put his backpack on the desk and sat down on the bed. He was traveling to the Holy Light Base City, a sacred place for all trainers. The Holy Light was a Class A base city, or as people often say, a Tier 1 base city. Of the more than 100 base cities in the subcontinent district, there were 3 levels, Class A, B, and C. Only 7 base cities were Class A base cities. Class A base cities were superior to the other base cities in every way, especially in safety and security. Not even Beast Kings could destroy a Class A base city. Of the entire subcontinent district, there were merely 2 legendary battle pet warriors, who were comparable to Beast Kings. That being said, humans had been able to acquire some artifacts and develop some weapons that could deter many Beast Kings. Even in Class B base cities, people were able to fight back under a Beast King's attack, or at least make it until other base cities came to the rescue. The distance to the Holy Light base city was long. Sua Ping saw that it was written on the ticket. The trip would take 2 days and nights. That was a trip that went across half of the subcontinent district. Sua Ping leaned against the bed and stared at the reinforced synthetic glass. He could see the rails outside through the glass. Many tracks were running parallel to each other. Outside the tracks were stone walls that were evidently built by pets of the stone family. The underground tunnel was more like a cave for the beasts. On the sides of the train were rows of lights that could produce a projection of tentacles. Looking from a distance, the train was like a huge centipede moving along the underground. Sua Ping gazed at the stones through the glass. He was interested at first, but he gradually grew bored. He decided to close his eyes and rest his mind. Time zipped by. The train would stop every few hours. Someone would get off and someone would get on board. He could hear people walking around. Sua Ping began to focus on cultivation. As the train dashed on, Sua Ping could tell that the astral powers in the tunnel were suitable for battle pets of the stone family. But he had no such pet. Of course, he didn't need pets of the stone family because the golden dragon hound was his best shield. An entire day had passed. Sua Ping was getting hungry. He stopped and headed to the diner on the train. There was a diner not far away from the cabin he was in. It was said that the food in that diner was better and more diverse than the food offered in the diner for the hard-seat cabin. He had also heard that chefs were waiting on the passengers in the private cabins, which would cost $1 million for one ticket, and could order anything they wanted. Sua Ping met Ji Zhantang and his granddaughter at the diner. They said hello to each other. Sua Ping picked some dishes and sat down by himself to eat his meal. Although they had met, he thought he didn't have to engage them in a conversation since they weren't familiar with each other and were unable to find any common topics right off the bat. Sua Ping was halfway through his meal when Ji Zhantang and his granddaughter had finished. As they walked past Sua Ping's table, Ji Zhantang said with a smile, "Glad to see you." Later, Ji Kaihuyu just darted a look at Sua Ping. She was not a big talker. "Okay," Sua Ping nodded and replied. Soon, he finished his meal and went back to his room. He did a little stretch in the tight room before he sat down on his bed again to cultivate. This time, after merely a few hours, he suddenly heard a shrill noise that was highly offending to the ears. In the meantime, the entire train trembled so violently that Sua Ping was thrown off the bed. At the same time, sirens outside the cabin went off. The sirens would only go off when the train was under attack. Sua Ping focused his mind and used his senses to check. Immediately, he noticed that some beasts were moving about in the soil. It seemed that there were advanced beasts approaching the train. The train won't break, will it? Instead of worrying about himself, he was more worried about the train. If the train broke down, his trip would be delayed. Bang! Abruptly, the train shook again. It was as if something had slammed into the side of the train and then bounced back into the wall of the tunnel. Even the airbags installed in between the cabins were deployed. Sua Ping reacted quickly. He leaned against the wall of the train so he remained unharmed. He tried to check but failed to see any beasts outside the cabin. The vibration was because other cabins nearby were under attack. Speaking of the devil, Sua Ping looked at the stone wall outside the glass. The cabin had derailed. With such destruction, the train would be unable to take him to the Holy Light base city. Ah, damn the beasts, Sua Ping thought. He placed his backpack in the storage space, pushed the door open, and went out. The cabin was tilting. Outside in the hallway, Sua Ping saw that people in the other rooms were coming out as well, staggering along. The fancy-clothed common people who had no astral powers had been injured by the bump, some with heads injured and bleeding. Some were even wearing nothing but their underwear. They had just been sleeping at the time. Some rich people held tight onto the door frame, covered up their injuries, and cried, "Help! Someone help me! I have money. I will offer 1 million, no 5 million to anyone who can protect me." In the hard seat cabins, the materials would be less resistant and there weren't any airbags. In a collision like that, the common people would have been killed directly. That was why rich people opted to pay more money to stay in single-bedroom cabins. Who said that money couldn't buy life? As the rich people cried and whined, some advanced battle pet warriors ran to them immediately. The ones who were just screaming without making an offer of money were ignored. In that chaos, Sua Ping saw the spoiled girl, the old man in the black suit, as well as Ji Zhantang and his granddaughter. Those people were all safe and sound. There were astral power shields covering them. The collision was big, but any battle pet warrior who was of middle rank or above would have resisted that. Of course, unless they were caught completely off guard while sleeping. Right then, a team of attendants arrived. The middle-aged team leader said solemnly, "Everyone must stay in the cabin and not run away. We have titled battle pet warriors taking care of the beasts already. Leave the cabin at your peril." Titled battle pet warriors. The 4 words were enough to soothe people's nerves. The people that were in a fit of panic heaved a sigh of relief. "Since we are faced with a special situation, I'm asking the middle rank and advanced battle pet warriors to help us out and take care of others. Thank you for your support and I hope you can work together to power through this time," the team leader added. He glanced over the advanced battle pet warriors and cast a gaze at the old man in the suit and Ji Zhentang. Both were master battle pet warriors, whom the team leader was able to notice because even he was feeling stressed out in front of them. Following the team leader's explanation, 3 advanced battle pet warriors stood out and said they would take care of others. Truth be told, they would only do so when the situation permitted. For example, in a collision like the previous one, they could stay safe and sound when the collision could be fatal to the general public. "Anyone who needs protection can come to me," Ji Zhentang shouted to the people near him. He saw Sua Ping who was standing nearby and shouted, "Hey, come on over." Sua Ping nodded but didn't go. He didn't need anyone to take care of him. He would rather not give more trouble to Ji Zhentang. He nodded to show he appreciated the gesture. Ji Zhentang was surprised to see that Sua Ping had declined but didn't comment on it. However, Ji Kaihuya frowned unhappily. She thought Sua Ping was being ungrateful. On the other hand, the old man in the suit paid no attention to the team leader. He just looked around, highly alerted. As far as he was concerned, he merely had to protect one person and that was his young lady. Suddenly, Sua Ping frowned. "Oh gods," the old man in the suit turned pale. At the same time, Ji Zhantang, who was surrounded by the people approaching him for help, suddenly put up an astral power shield that covered up everyone around him. Boom! The cabin shook violently and bumped into the wall outside the tracks again. The reinforced glass that remained intact in the previous impact was shattered. At the same moment, in the middle of the cabin, a loud noise was heard, and the print of a claw suddenly appeared on the metal ceiling. This view had stunned everyone. The vulnerable ordinary people were weak in the knees and trembling. Some of the more timid ones had collapsed on the ground, wetted their pants, and were holding on tightly to the ones standing around. The 5 attendants didn't expect that this cabin would also be under attack. Scared by the situation, they summoned their battle pets. Even though the cabin was not small, their battle pets had large sizes and had filled up available space. Bang! The cabin was torn open. A beast with a sharp horn showed its hideous face through the crack. The next second, a stream of hot lava spilled in from the crack. That is, the beast merely showed its face for a second, but the attendants had recognized it. To their dismay, that seemed to be an 8th rank beast, a lava python. That was a rare pet of the stone family. The lava python had a strong defense like any other pet of the stone family, and at the same time, it was able to use the skills of the fire family. The lava python could be said to be quite a difficult pet of the stone family. Damn it! The team leader summoned a battle pet of the stone family in a hurry. The pet produced many dirt mounds in the cabin, which were rising up to fill up the crack in the ceiling. However, the crack had just been repaired when the dirt mounds exploded. As it happened, the lava spilled out as well. Startled, Ji Zhantang summoned another astral power shield. The burning lava fell onto the shield but was unable to burn the shield through. A man who wasn't able to make his way to Ji Zhantang was unprotected. He could do nothing as he watched the lava spilling his way. The moment the lava was going to fall over him, it took a sharp turn and missed him. Since everyone was focusing on the beast outside, no one noticed that other than the man himself. He wondered if there was something wrong with his eyes. Sui Ping darted that man a look and turned around. He had sensed the several 8th rank beasts that were creating trouble outside the train. Sir! The team leader felt guilty for not being able to block the crack. It was to his relief that no one had gotten hurt. He said to Ji Zhantang and the old man in the suit, "We will protect the others. I am asking you, as Master Battle Pet Warriors, to help us out and stall the beasts. The titled Battle Pet Warriors shall be here momentarily." The team leader knew that he was unable to stop the lava python. The other passengers turned their gazes to the two as well. The passengers who had come on board later in the journey were not aware that the two old men were Master Battle Pet Warriors until the team leader said so. They felt a glint of hope rising again in that desperate situation. Ji Zhantang nodded and said to the team leader, "Sure thing. Help me take care of my granddaughter." Ji Kaihuya was worried. "Grandpa. Don't worry. I'll be fine." Ji Zhantang smiled to comfort her. On the other hand, the old man in the suit said nothing in reply. It was not his duty to help out. What if something happened to his young lady while he was away? That would be a true disaster. The team leader was not happy after seeing that the old man in the suit was not offering to help, but there was nothing he could do. He hurried to where Ji Zhantang was, and placed the passengers around Ji Zhantang into the protection of his battle pet, then said to Ji Zhantang gratefully, "Thank you so much, sir. The beasts are attacking us. As a fellow human being, it is my duty to offer a hand." Ji Zhantang smiled. 4 swirls appeared around him and from them crawled out 4 massive battle pets. 2 of them were of the element family, one was more skilled in combat and the other one was a subspecies of the dragon family. The most valuable and powerful one was the pet that belonged to a subspecies of the dragon family. This battle pet had reached the 8th rank, a rank higher than that of the other battle pets.